Stuart, just ask us was about the reflections on the weekend past. Such a busy time for you, and you must all be delighted. If you have any injury updates as well, you can. But just to reflect on the weekend and let us know how everyone's the shape they're in today.
Yeah, no, good. We're good injury-wise. No real concerns going into Friday's game. Obviously, it's a short turnaround, so you play Saturday evening, Sunday's off, medicals, and then Monday, today, we've sort of reviewed the Munster game, put that to bed, previewed Toulon, trained, and then we've got tomorrow off, and then we're into to sort of run through to the game, really. It's obviously it's an early kick-off on Friday, so delighted to win. I thought that it was a really strong performance from us. We feel, on the back of the Six Nations, to reintegrate a group of players who've been playing, obviously, different calls with different coaches, to then get a cohesive performance was good. We feel there's more improvement in us, however. I think that, obviously we were delighted to win, but we definitely have some opportunities out there. So that's been the main focus, really, of the review. But also the second point has been obviously to back it up. It's Europe now. It's a trophy that we're hungry to try and get to the latter stages, and it's a knockout from now on. So massive game against Toulon. I'm not sure Leinster had beaten them before. Certainly played them before, not in my time. But so all focus is on that now.
Just in relation to Johnny Sexton and his head injury assessment and stuff, I mean, do you think realistically Friday's going to come too soon for him? And if so, how's Ross fixed?
Yeah, no, he's flying. Johnny's flying through the sort of return to play protocols. It wasn't a big incident, I think you saw in the game. So no, he's flying through that. Obviously, he didn't train today. And Ross, he did get a bang on his knee, but he trained today. So we're pretty optimistic on both of them.
So they're both in line for selection as things stand?
Yeah, as things stand. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Stuart.
Cheers, Paul. Declan Woolley from Newstalk, I see you there. If you're with us, if you wouldn't mind asking the next couple of questions for Stuart, please. Declan, do we have you? Maybe not.
Might need to speak louder. Can you hear?
Oh, sorry. Back in there.
Yep. You have me now, Declan? Yeah. Crack away.
Yeah, great. Stuart, how are you? I just wondering, it was a very impressive performance against Munster, but was there any area where you're kind of looking to particularly address there now with what faces you this week?
Yeah, completely different challenge this week, Declan. Toulon, a very big, very powerful team, would play a very expansive style, more like Toulouse, really. So we need to be very much at our best defensively. So big mindset there. We need to get right, because if you give their powerful ball carriers, both backs and forwards, time and space to move, then it's going to be a very difficult day. Obviously, in terms of attack, we felt, as I said earlier on, we left one or two opportunities out there. So the focus will be on improving our execution, really. We felt that, it was good in patches against Munster, but we definitely could have converted some of those opportunities that we created, particularly in the first half. And that extra weeks that we've had together on the back of the Ireland players returning will be useful. Ideally, it would have been a Saturday game. We'd have had a Monday, Tuesday lead-in. But it's a Friday game. We're first up. So it's a short week for us. We've done today's training and tomorrow's off. So pretty much Wednesday is the running. But it's a massive game for us, huge game. And, very respectful of Toulon, the club, 3 times European champions. We need to make sure we're at our best.
Yeah, throughout the season, especially in the Pro 14, you've dealt well when you've had international players away from camp. Is there any bit of apprehension that this will be such a stern test? You've had so little time with the players back in that just makes that a little more difficult. Yeah,
it does make it difficult, but they are obviously good players. They are of Boyd coming back in on the back of the England game, which is definitely a bonus for us at Leinster. They definitely came back with a spring in the step. And they're good players as well. And, it doesn't take long for the muscle memory to kick in. Once you start getting them going again, get them training and get them back into the calls and the way in which we play. And I think you saw, parts of that at the weekend against Munster. But obviously there's another level we need to get to.
Excellent. Good man. Thanks, Stuart.
Cheers, Declan. Don, a couple of questions for Stuart, yeah?
Stuart, lovely day today. I've one question. It's a long question, Stuart. Last week we were talking to Rob McGrin about motivation, and not necessarily about Leinster motivation, but the opposition motivation. Now, he didn't put it in the uncontrollable kind of box. He said you have to factor that in preparation. Like Ospreys, needed to win to go top tier next year. Munster needed silverware. Are Toulon kind of more focused now on La Rochelle or Leinster? And do you build that into team meetings, into preparation?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, obviously, the reason why every team wants to play every game is important, but there's always a reason why the opposition want to play Leinster. And whether it's Ospreys, whether it's Munster, whether it's Toulon, they know that to come to the RDS to play Leinster, even though we didn't win Europe last year, they know that we'll be there or thereabouts, and they'll be wanting to beat us because that's what champion teams want to do. So we're very, very respectful of the evolution they've made. Obviously, it's a new president, a new owner, more French-based team than they used to be under what was his name, Mourad Boujele, they're playing some great rugby. They've got Carbonell at 10, and Serin at 9. They would have had Malnonu, but I think he got red carded at the weekend against Lyon. So, but with Esterbeth in the second row, and he's probably an average size forward for them. there's plenty of big guys for Toulon to call on, but for us, it is a lot about internal motivation as well, about what we want to achieve as a group. And I keep the mindset very much focused on ourselves and what we can do better. I don't get too distracted by the opposition. Obviously, I prepare the team in terms of how I think they'll defend, how I think they'll attack, where their threats are. But I'll often flip the page very quickly back to us and focus on what we can do well. And I know that if we do that and do that well with the players we have and the training and the environment that we have here, we'll be a challenge for any team.
That's great. Thanks, Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Jerry.
I'm just wondering, with the final scoreline on Saturday at 16-6 to Leinster, were you surprised at the opposition Munster put up on the day? I mean, Leinster could have scored maybe 3 more tries.
Well, obviously, every game starts from zero, and we found when we went down to Thomond Park at Christmas, Munster started really well, and we had to hang in there for long periods of the game. And obviously, we got that try at the end and managed to get the win. In this particular game, we started well, and we kept momentum. And whilst the scoreline didn't reflect, I guess, the possession that we had in the first half, it was still only 6-6 at half time. And my final message at half time to the players was, this is a team that won't go away. This is a team that's been to Claremont and been 20-odd points, 29 points down or whatever it was, and went on to win. No team puts Munster away. They're so competitive, so well coached, and so tough to play against. So overall, yes, we did miss some opportunities, but equally we were just delighted to come away with a win, because in finals rugby it's about the winning. And on the day, we managed to get control, we're just delighted to get the win, really.
Okay, and looking at another 6-day turnaround to the last 16 in Europe, for some of the players, it's going to be tough to get themselves up to maybe the form required.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there'll be a couple of changes. I would suspect that will freshen the team up. Some lads are on the bench, might get an opportunity to start, and that obviously has an impact. But overall, the last 2 defeats in the final against Saracens in 2019 and in the quarterfinal against Saracens last year, they stung a lot. And we want to be judging ourselves at the top end of Europe, and we want to be playing the best teams. And we know it's knockout rugby, so trust me, there's plenty of motivation in the team this week. Even though we were pleased to win last week, we turn the page very quickly, learn what we can do better, and move on, because it's Europe and this is where Leinster wants to be. We want to be in the latter end of the competition, and it's knockout rugby.
Yeah, obviously it must be an easier ask to get players to play at a very high level again when you keep winning. I mean, 4 Pro 14 titles.
Yeah. Although the danger is that you start to, it's almost subconscious complacency can creep in. Where you start thinking that you've got all the answers, and if you'd have seen the review this morning, you'd probably thought we'd have lost. Given the way in which we talked about the performance and how we can do things better, and competition for place is so fierce here. It's very hard to get for that complacency to creep in, because everyone wants to play, and we've got obviously some key men injured at the moment. So James Ryan, Caelan Doris, Gary Ringrose, Kieran Frawley, these sorts of guys are all going to come back in the equation as well. So you've got some good players to come back.